For all your TCG needs, make sure to check out alphatradingcardgames.com.
What's poppin', everybody? It's the seperate. Today, I'm going to be ranting about a few issues that I have with the Digimon TCG. Obviously, the TCG is great. It has proven itself as a respectable TCG. It had my heart from the start because it's Digimon, and of course because a lot of the mechanics are based on Duel Masters, another TCG that I really love, which that one was based on a lot of mechanics of Magic the Gathering. But the game, even though it has a lot of great aspects about it, it does have a few issues that annoy me and need to be addressed. The easiest one to talk about is this game's lack of an online game, an online client simulator, however you want to say it. In this day and age, if you want to be serious with competing with the other TCGs, and if Digimon wants to be serious with competing with the other TCGs, it does need to get an online game. I think I speak for many where I'm in a position in my life. I'm not going to tell you guys my life story, but it's difficult to play TCGs in real life. I mean, for Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh, if TCG Online and Master Duel did not exist, I possibly would rarely have the chance to play any TCGs at all. So, having an online game, not only it's important to keep up with your competition, remain contemporary, remain modern, but it's a great way for all of us that can't play in real life to play. I bought a lot of products already. I don't think people that would play the game online wouldn't be fans of the game and buy physical products in real life too. They could do like what Pokemon does, implement TCG card codes in booster packs, so people are incentivized to buy the real cards, collect them, and get the codes to unlock cards online too. I think that's a great system. But nevertheless, this is a very easy thing to bring up. I definitely think Digimon TCG needs an online game. There was a fan game that was just perfect. It was so good, you would think that it was an official game from Bandai or something. It was made by a guy called A Bit Nerd. It was awesome. I wish the guy made it so that it could work offline too. So kind of like YGO Pro in a way, where even if we can't play online and Bandai sort of forced him to shut everything down, we could have still kept the game downloaded offline on our computer, and you can just play against the computer opponents and stuff. That was still going to be something. But that got shut down. I think Bandai should have just cooperated with him, bought him out or something, and build upon that game. But they decided they just don't want the shit. And if they're going to shut a fan game like that down, they need to give us an answer, because if they want to stay relevant and compete with, especially Pokemon, because obviously Digimon is not on the same level as Pokemon is, but it does have that sort of impression that it can rival Pokemon at the very least. It's another monster franchise, with evolution, a lot of similarities with Pokemon. The game does have a lot of potential as a TCG, and it has proven itself, as I've said. So an online game definitely needs that. Second problem that I have with the game is that it got very complicated too quickly. I understand that as card sets and TCGs progress, they're going to introduce new mechanics to make things, I guess, more complicated and add new features. I resent what has happened with Yu-Gi-Oh! Pokemon does a better job than this, just keep staying true to at least the rules and the mechanics. I prefer that any day of the week. But in a way, I do understand somewhat Yu-Gi-Oh! Evolving. It evolved for the worst, but I mean, when they were bringing out mechanics like Synchros and XYZs, the game wasn't too bad. But you don't want your TCG to become a clusterfuck of rules and rulings and mechanics and be too complicated. And if you would ask me, I'll be honest with you guys, Digimon TCG, maybe it's not as close to Yu-Gi-Oh, but it's up there already. There's so many different mechanics and stuff, especially when you go for security checks, all of the different rules and things that come into play. Um, the official rulebook on the official website has already been updated so many times. They do a decent job, I guess, explaining all of the extra stuff and common questions people would have with the rulings and order of things that are going to be done and conflicting effects and stuff. But I mean, if I was gonna recommend somebody a TCG, and I have to recommend them an easy TCG, I'd go with Pokemon. I wouldn't go with Digimon. And I don't know why. They should have just tried to compete with Pokemon in the sense that, it's a Mon franchise. Make it be kind of, I guess, simple on the level or maybe a little bit above Pokemon. But it's already so complicated with all the extra shit. Like, they keep printing all of these extra effects. You guys know what I'm talking about. Like, we have things like Jammin', DG Burst, Piercing, Blitz, all of these extra effects, and they keep releasing them. They have things like the X antibody stuff. They have all sorts of different mechanics and rules. It's just way too complicated. They have the DNA Digi-Evolution mechanic, which is from the original like Digimon TCGs, which is cool, but you're making things too complicated. From the get-go, it was always going to be more complicated from something like Duel Masters because you have things like the standard play cost, then you have DG Evolution cost as well. So from the start, it was going to be more complicated. And the DG Egg mechanic, so it has a bunch of stuff already, but they've made it very complicated. With all of these sets that keep coming, they released a lot of sets in such a short span of time too. It's barely been kind of 2 years, you could say, close to 2 years. And there's like 12 sets, which I guess is okay, but I think we should have had like maybe 10 sets. They basically released 6 sets a year, you could say, which I guess it's not as bad as Yu-Gi-Oh, but I mean, Pokemon, they're kind of on the same level, I think, 5 or 6 sets a year, and much bigger sets too. But whatever, okay, the set releases aren't really the problem. It's all of the extra mechanics that have come so quickly. And then the other problem that I have that kind of ties into this as well is the power creep. There's already a big power creep with the Digimon TCG. Like, for example, you would see some sort of cards in the starter decks and in the first few sets. Let's say Digimon monsters that are vanillas. They have like a play cost of 4, a Digi Evolution cost of 2, and they've got like 5,000 or 6,000 Digimon power. You're going to see that there's like cards from the same sort of color that are going to have the same play cost, same Digi-Evolution cost, and stronger Digimon power. And this sort of makes the older cards already power crept, which is kind of unfortunate. Like, for me, the TCGs, I want, for me, for TCGs to be balanced and great, they kind of have to release cards and give us balance out the cards in a way that, okay, this card has this sort of effect or this sort of benefit, but it has this sort of drawback. So an older card that's very similar isn't completely outclassed, or it sort of comes down to player preference. Okay, I prefer this card. It has this drawback, but it has this advantage over the other card. That kind of thing. You know what I mean? So cards are different, but not necessarily completely outclassed by an older card in its entirety. I mean, especially this happening so early, I don't think it's good. I don't know what's going to happen with the Digimon TCG in terms of if it's going to have rotations or if it's just going to keep all the sets legal and just do ban lists like Yu-Gi-Oh! I have a feeling they're not going to do rotations, although I think that's a better system if we learned anything from Yu-Gi-Oh! By now. But I think a lot of people hate that and aren't going to support it. Also, I think they're not going to do this bandai. They're probably just going to keep all the cards legal and just do, I guess, ban lists and ban cards, and that's how it's going to be. But I think it's going to end up badly for Digimon in the long term. I would rather this be a rotation-based game, just like Pokemon. Like I said, I don't think they're going to do that, but I hope they do it. And the other thing, I guess, to go with the cards, they need to give us, I think they might do it, but I hope they do it. Give us reprint sets too, like what Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh! Does too. A lot of the cards, even though I've talked about power creep, useless or not useless, from the starter decks and from the first couple of sets, like especially the first set, New Evolution 1.0, whatever the name is, weird name. That set is already expensive as fuck, and we didn't get a chance to buy it. I didn't get a chance to buy it at a decent price. Same for the first three starter decks, especially the Taichi one, the Tai one with War Greymon. It's expensive as fuck. You gotta pay like $40 to get it, if not more. They need to reprint those cards in some way, or just reprint the existing products because we need to have like a better way to get access to cards. I mean, if the product goes away, they don't print it again, and you sort of miss out on it. It's almost like you've missed out on it for good. I know they have like a few reprints in like the tournament packs for Digimon, the equivalent for that. But we need to get like proper reprint sets. Hopefully, at the end of this era, they'll do something like that. But I guess they didn't do it last year, which is a bit worrisome. Hopefully, they start doing this. They need to have like reprint sets. They definitely need to slow down with broken cards so that the power creep doesn't take effect so quickly. And an online game. I think those are the issues that come to mind. And I think I'm just going to call this a video. So tell me what you guys think. I think that's all I got. I mean, all of the things that I mentioned are pretty important. I think when it comes to the complexity thing for the TCG, it's not like we can go back right now. They already released a couple of mechanics, but hopefully they just slow things down because I don't want this game to get more complicated. And that's about it. Tell me what you guys think in the comments. I think a lot of subjects like the online game subject is important for a lot of people. It's probably the number one thing people will want, I think. Like even if you type that shit on Google, it kind of comes up automatically. People wanting an online game, even something illegal, just something to play online. I guess people are going to bring up a tabletop simulator. That's not really my cup of tea. Just complicated ass shit. I don't have Steam. I don't want to download Steam to get that. I just want a proper Digimon TCG, just like what Pokemon TCG Online is to Pokemon, and even a Master Duel. Like it doesn't even have to be on the computer. You can put it on the PlayStation or something. Subscribe to the channel, leave a like, share this video with your friends, and I see you guys next time. What a